Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a comparison between the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 7 Plus in 2021. Now, what I can tell you is for sure, if you have all the money in the world, getting the iPhone 11 is the much better choice. It's a beautiful phone. It looks very good. I'm going to push my microphone back a little bit because it's too close to my face. There we go, much better. And it's a beautiful phone. This is the one I would recommend more people to end up picking up. With the 7 Plus, I think it's a good phone if you still own it, but I would probably recommend you to update sooner than later. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these things or any other phones in between these, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time as always. Now, side by side, you can definitely see the 7 Plus was a bigger phone overall. I'm a fan of the way the 7 Plus looks for sure, but it's a bigger phone, although the iPhone 11 has the bigger panel. The iPhone 7 Plus has that 5.5-inch IPS panel, and overall, it looked pretty good. These both are on iOS 15, by the way, and I thought it was a really good phone when it first came out. I used this phone for, I think, 9 months or something, almost a year, and I had a great time using it for sure, and it still looks pretty good, although it has huge bezels around it. With the iPhone 11, on the other hand, this is a much more modern looking phone. It definitely looks far better than you would think, and although the 12s and the 12 Pros look better, this one still is one of those timeless designed phones. A little bit of thicker bezel, compared to the iPhone 10s or something, but it still looks good, and you still have a notch, which I prefer over the 7 Plus's bezels any day of the week. So in terms of the front, definitely the iPhone 11 looks better, although the 7 Plus actually has a higher resolution display, which is always interesting to see. In terms of the side and the thickness, the 7 Plus is a thinner phone. The iPhone 11 is a little bit thicker. Nothing super crazy. It's really not that big of a deal, and I don't really think you're going to notice it day by day. And on the back, you have the aluminum back or whatever this is on the 7 Plus. The iPhone 11 has this glass back, dual camera setups on both, but they're a little bit different. The 7 Plus has a telephoto lens. The iPhone 11 has an ultra wide sensor, so basically 7 Plus zooming in a lot, iPhone 11 zooming out a lot. Wireless charging on the iPhone 11, lightning ports, no headphone jacks or anything like that, and that pretty much covers it. I think the 7 Plus still looks great and everything, and without the glass back, you don't have to worry about cracking it, but you still have a screen on the front, which I already cracked on my 7 Plus. And I still think the iPhone 11 for sure is the more superior one without a doubt. Now, the bodies aren't the only differences between these two, which is one of the more obvious ones. The difference is in the inside. The 7 Plus has the Apple A10 Fusion chip. The iPhone 11 has that Apple A13 Bionic chip. So there's a big difference in terms of the longevity of these two phones. Forgetting about the way they look, forgetting the price and all that stuff, the 7 Plus has a higher chance of pretty much being outdated. There's a high chance this thing within the next year or two is going to be outdated. And it kind of already is, to be honest, but it is still getting software support. It's still there, which I'm really happy about. But the iPhone 11 is going to get support for a much longer period of time. This thing pretty much is just getting started. It's probably going to go like another 4 years, I think, before it's completely ended. Like, I think it's going to get like the end of the 4th year. But this thing's still going to be around for many, many more years. I would probably say 2024 to 2025. It's going to be the last time we probably get a software update on this thing. And that's still several more years from now. So the 7 Plus is towards the end of its life cycle. You can see my battery percent. The iPhone 11 is, still in the beginning of it, to be honest. So that's a big difference. I have noticed that the battery life is also really good on the iPhone 11 and potentially better on the iPhone 11 than the 7 Plus. Because the 7 Plus is a bigger phone, or an older phone at that matter, it's going to have a degraded battery over time. So that's another pretty big thing to keep in mind as well. So in terms of that covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between these two. The 7 Plus has that Apple A10 Fusion chip inside of it with 3 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 11 has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigs of RAM. So let's go see which one is the faster phone between both of these. There we go. Hopping out of all these apps, as you guys can see, we're cleared out. Let's do phone calls 3, 2, 1. And by the way, both of these are on iOS 15, which is pretty cool. Hopping out of that one, let's do music 3, 2, 1. And this is a weird app. I hate this app so much. App Store 3, 2, 1. Not the app itself, but for a speed test comparison, it's a little bit different. And surprisingly, the 7 Plus looked to be a little bit faster there. I'm not too sure what happened there. And I do think with the music app, it was a little bit faster, but I kind of already hopped out of that one. Scrolling speed wise, almost the same exact thing, not a big difference. Let's get into photos, 3, 2, 1. Almost the same. Maybe the iPhone 11 was just a split second faster, but they were almost identical. Let's get into mail, 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 11 was a faster one there. Let's get into something like news, which I don't have here. Let's skip to the next page, and I do have the settings app, 3, 2, 1. I like seeing these small type of apps, and even here you saw that the iPhone 11 was actually the faster one, and scrolling through, it's about the same, but definitely faster on the iPhone 11 for sure. Now, as always, I have a bunch of these third-party apps that are scattered everywhere. Let's get into Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 is faster, but I was logged into an account here, although I'm still kind of logged into account kind of there. I'm not really too sure. Hopping out of this one, let's do Twitter. 3, 2, 1. And iPhone 11 faster, 12 a little bit behind. Let's get into something like Netflix. 3, 2, 1. 11 is faster, 7 plus a bit behind. Let's get into Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. And iPhone 11 is faster again, 7 plus a little bit behind. Let's get into Dropbox. 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 11 is faster. BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And the 11 is faster. I thought the 7 Plus was going to be faster there for a second. Finally get into it. Tempo Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And you can see the 11 again is the faster one for sure, but the 7 Plus, for being a couple years older, is actually doing a pretty good job. I didn't think it was going to be doing this good, to be completely honest. Hopping out of this one, let's go ahead and get into something like First Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. iPhone 11 is faster there. Let's get into Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. And it does look like the iPhone 11 may be the faster one here. And you can see the iPhone 11 is the faster one. iPhone 7 Plus a little bit behind right there. Hopping out of this one, let's get into something like Stack. 3, 2, 1. And you can see again, the iPhone 11 is the faster one. So I think for sure the iPhone 11 is going to continue to be the faster one between these two. I didn't even realize we tested these many apps. I think when it comes down to it, the 7 Plus is actually still pretty decent. Like, it's really not that bad. Of course, it's not as good as something like an iPhone 11, but it doesn't really do as bad of a job as you might think for, being a couple-year-old phone than the iPhone 11. So that pretty much covers up the speed comparison. Let's go and quickly hit on the cameras. And like I mentioned before, dual camera setups on both the 7 Plus wide-angle lens and a telephoto lens, the iPhone 11 wide-angle lens and ultra-wide sensor. Now you have 4K at 60 on the back of the iPhone 11, but only 4K at 30 on the back of the 7 Plus. Flipping over to the front, you do have, front cameras. They both do good, but the 7 Plus can only do 1080p at 30, where the iPhone 11 can actually do 4K at 60 as well. So that's another pretty big advantage that you have on the iPhone 11. You have a much better camera setup on the iPhone 11 than the 7 Plus for sure. So in terms of that, that covers up the camera comparison. And to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you buy an iPhone 7 Plus or should you buy an iPhone 11 in 2021? Well, this is what I'll tell you. I think for sure if you have the money, the iPhone 11 is the much better phone to pick up. I mean, it is a way better phone than the iPhone 7 Plus. There's a lot more going for it. It's a beautiful phone. It's almost the perfect phone for a majority of people out there. And I've used this phone. I've used this phone for almost 2 years now, and it's been a perfect phone for me. A lot of my second channel was built off the back of this phone because of all those tutorials I made. And this phone is a trooper. You can just even and you can even just see all these apps that I used on this thing. Like, this is a heavily used phone for the most part that I'm still using, and this phone is a trooper for sure. The 7 Plus, I've personally used this phone as a main device, and I had a really good time using it as well. No complaints really. Of course, it doesn't look that great anymore. It's slower than the iPhone 11. The camera isn't as good as the 11's either. But whenever I pick this phone up and I look at it, it still makes me so happy, and I'm a huge fan of this phone as well. So, in my opinion, the 11 is a better way to go, but the 7 Plus has a special place in my heart as well. So, that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.